Morning, John. I thought we had, when we look at App, we look at a team that I think is very well coached, has really good depth, and really does do a good job with regards to their execution and their overall discipline. They certainly shut down our offense. We had trouble moving the ball against them across the board. Our defense was able to come up with some pretty big plays, and we did a decent job against them on third down and fourth down, but we also had some breakdowns where they were able to pick up some reasonable yardage without too much difficulty against us. And at the end of the day, so many things come down to special teams. I'm not sure that was quite the case as far as our game on Saturday, but they also beat us on a special teams game. They beat us in time of possession. So all the things that we have been pretty good on over the span of the year, they outplayed us. And again, I think that was a credit to their players as well as Scott and as well as their overall staff with regard to their game plan. And they're a good football team, and they beat us.
Thank you so much, Coach. Our first question comes from Dan McDonald with The Advocate. Dan, please go ahead.
Morning, Coach.
Morning, Dan.
I guess it's good news, bad news. You play these 3 games in a row, but you play teams that are right up there contending for division titles. It's a tough stretch for you guys.
Yeah, I don't think there's any question about that. We think App's an excellent team, but when you look at Arkansas State, so are they. When you look at Georgia Southern, so are they. They're the ones that beat App. So we recognize we have our work cut out for us. So over the span of the three game span, but we've got one behind us. We didn't do great there, but hopefully we learned something from there. I know we're going to continue to be focused as we go forward, and we know Arkansas State's good, but we got to focus on Arkansas State, and we got to focus on what we can do.
Your guys are one game away from being bowl eligible. That would be obviously a landmark for the program. Is that something that you have talked about with the team, or something that you hear people talk about?
If the kids or the coaches are talking about it, they're not talking about it in front of me, and it's not something I've spoken to the team about at any point in time. The media brings it up all the time, and fans bring it up all the time. But the reality is that everybody across the entire FBS nation wants to be able to go to a bowl game. Everybody wants to be able to win. Everybody wants to win a conference championship. Everybody wants those things. So the fact that everybody wants it makes it a little bit irrelevant, the fact that we want. Of course we would want something like that, but that part's irrelevant to us. The part that is relevant, and I believe my staff really understands this, and I believe the vast majority of the team understands it, that this is all about the process that we go through getting ready for a game, or getting ready for the season, or getting ready for spring, getting ready for the off season. It's a matter of our focus is how do we maximize our potential. We can't always control what the other team's doing, but we can control maximizing our potential at least to the very best of our ability. So therefore, the process that is associated with that is what our focus is. And if we do a good job of going through the process, we increase the probability we're going to maximize our potential. If we increase the probability we maximize our potential, we increase the probability we're going to be successful, and then everything else falls into place. But we don't begin with the idea of a bowl game. We begin with the idea, let's get our BAM process right, and let's really focus on that, and then everything else will work itself out in the wash.
What's the difference in preparing for a team like Arkansas State against a team like Appalachian State?
Well, I think every team has a little bit different approach. Even if they run a similar offense or a similar defense or have similar special teams, everybody's got they always have different wrinkles. They approach certain things a different way. They have different levels of talent. I mean, Arkansas State and App are both very, very talented with regard to personnel, but that doesn't mean one guy may be as good as the other guy or vice versa. So it's a total matter of trying to understand as best we can the philosophy of the opponent that we're preparing against. And while there are similarities between Arkansas State and App, there are also differences. The way they run their offense is different. The way they run the defense is different. The way they handle the special teams is different. But again, there's similarities. But you know what? Pretty much across the 12 games that we play, there are similarities across 9 or 10 of those teams.
Thank you, Dan. Our next questions come from Brad Bobo with 95.3 The Ticket. Please go ahead, Brad.
Yeah, Coach, about Arkansas State, just kind of getting your thoughts maybe on their offense, knew what they were maybe going to be able to do from a passing standpoint, but kind of how you've seen that maybe evolve over the last few games. You've seen the running game get better.
Well, I think the running game has gotten better. If you take a look at our game from a year ago, Hansen really had. I think he had a record day. I think he had an all-time career record day. He's still doing a great job at throwing the ball. He's got a 64% percentage. He certainly throws touchdowns. He doesn't have many interceptions, and they throw the ball well and they run the ball. If you overplay the pass, they're going to take advantage of you as far as the run goes. So their running game, when we look at it in terms of the team that's coming in to play us, is a good solid running game, and we are very, very, very much aware of that. I mean, they've got guys that average 6 yards a carry, almost 5 yards a carry, and they're effective as far as that goes.
I was wondering, I read and saw your comments, obviously, as it pertains to kind of fan support, and that's honestly a thing all over. I mean, Nick Saban has even had the same message over the course of the season. What do you view as the factors that college football is fighting against right now in terms of attendance?
I don't know if I've considered the issue across the world as far as college football goes, because I haven't looked at that. But I kind of do know, and I am huge. Our whole band philosophy is you take responsibility for yourself. That includes leadership. That was true for me in the executive world, in the business world, rather. It's true for me as far as football goes. It's also true with regards to how you run your overall institution. So one of the things that I think we need to do a better job of focusing on is how do you really appeal and attract the student that is going to want to go to the game. I think it begins with that. We also have a very significant $650 million a year economic impact, rather, with regards to our overall community. I think we got to do a better job of making sure that our entire community understands that. So at the end of the day, you can blame it on the fans. I don't blame it on the fans. It's our responsibility. So we got to do a better job in terms of how we recruit students, not just student athletes, and how we market and sell. So that's our job, to do a better job of that.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you, Brad, and thank you, Coach. That's all the time we have for you today. We do appreciate it.
Thank you, John.